For more information or to schedule a personal tour of Charlotte Hall Veterans Home, call us at 800-522-VETS or visit our website www.charhall.org for more information.
Well, that was a wonderful clip.
Thank you.
And there certainly is a lot of information on there.
Yes.
And you were saying before that you kind of get around the state and talk to senior centers and so forth, informing people of Charlotte Hall.
Yeah.
One of the questions I had was the requirements, that you have to be a veteran. Can you tell us a little bit about the requirements?
Sure, absolutely. There's three basic requirements that we go through before we look at someone medically to see if they're eligible. First, they must be a honorably discharged veteran. They have to have been in active duty, but they do not have to have served in the war. They could have been in the military for 1 year or 20 years. That does not matter. As long as they were honorably discharged and they have the paperwork to prove that, then they are eligible. They also must be a Maryland resident. We are owned by the state of Maryland and actually managed by a separate outside contract management company. But because we're owned by the state of Maryland, we can only accept Maryland residents. And third, the veteran must be 62 years of age or older. If the veteran is under 62 and they have about a 70% disability, we will accept them. We actually also accept spouses now, so the individual coming in doesn't always necessarily have to be the veteran. It could be the spouse of a veteran. As long as that spouse has never been legally separated or divorced from the veteran, meaning they're legally still married, that spouse is eligible. So if the veteran has already passed, that spouse can still come after the veteran has passed by themselves or with the veteran. I don't know about you, but I can't imagine transitioning in that time of life from the home that you've lived in for 50 years and raised your children in, and then having to go into a long-term care facility. It's got to be scary. And if you can take your spouse with you, it's got to make it that much more easy to transition smoothly.
Now, you said you had to be a resident of Maryland. Is there a time limit? Can I just cross the border yesterday and sign up?
That's something that actually occurs quite often. That question actually does come up because a lot of times what happens is an individual reaches a senior age and gets sick and decides that they need to go live with their children in Florida. So they do that, but they've lived in Maryland their whole life. In the last year they've lived in Florida with their daughter. That daughter can call Charlotte Hall and say, hey, Dad's gotten really sick this past year, but he's lived in Maryland his whole life. Is he eligible? And we'll say, yes, he is eligible because he's lived in Maryland for so many years. He's paid his taxes. He is still officially a resident. We'll count him as a resident. Now, vice versa. Say he's lived in Florida his whole life and recently come to live with his daughter in Maryland. He must live in Maryland for 6 months if he's interested in coming into the nursing home. If he's going to be coming into our assisted living program, he needs to establish residency in Maryland for 2 years. So there's some different situations there.
Laura, let me ask you this. A number of people who watch this show here in the Bowie area where incomes are above average, and a great many people have federal pensions that are fairly significant, and people who live here have private industry pensions and some investments. How does it work for them, the people who, they're not nearly destitute?
Right.
Is there a place in that for these people?
Absolutely. Let's talk about cost of care. We're going to separate it into assisted living residents and then nursing home residents. Now, the difference between those two, sometimes people don't know what that means. What does assisted living mean? What does nursing home mean? Assisted living means that you need assistance with your daily care. We have 3 different levels, meaning you need the first level is where they just need help with medication distribution, help with food preparation. Sometimes they're leaving the pot on the stove and forgetting and it's burning. Sometimes they're forgetting to take their medications at home, and that means they're ready for assisted living program. So we actually have residents who live with us who still drive. And then there's a level 2 where they need a little bit more assistance. Level 3, they need the most assistance with their daily life before they need full care, which would be nursing home. Now, if an individual is coming in interested in our assisted living program, we look at the cost of care on their monthly income. We look at how much money do they have coming in every month. We don't look at assets, we don't look at their savings, their car, their house, that sort of thing. How much income each month, and we take a percentage of that. That percentage basically covers everything, their medications, their room and board. So all of that is included, which is very nice. Now, on nursing home side, we treat it as any other nursing home in the local community as far as taking any insurances, Medicare, Medicaid, any long-term care insurance. After that, it would be private pay, okay? So that's how that kind of works. Each veteran who lives with us does receive what we call a per diem discount off the top of their room and board and their medication. So before that discount, the cost of care is comparable to the local facilities that aren't specifically for veterans. But because these guys and ladies are veterans, they're receiving up to $77 a day off the top of that big number. So we're looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 discounted per month by coming to Charlotte Hall Veterans Home rather than a civilian place.
One question. In the clip, when you first started, you said 462 beds.
That's correct.
And then, of course, this you had some renovations down there. I'd like to explain why it went from 504 to 462.
Well, yeah, we just decided to change the total bed numbers from 504 to 462 to make it more attainable. When I first started 6 years at Charlotte Hall Veterans Home, we didn't have that many veterans living with us. We were almost 200, and today we're at 403. So the word is getting out there, but it's venues like this that help us get the word out and let people know that this service is available out there for veterans. A veteran could have gone into the service when he was 18 and was discharged 2 years later honorably and hasn't been involved in any of the legions or anything and may not know that this service is available to him. And so this is a great avenue for us.
No subsidies for spouses then, non-veteran spouses?
Unfortunately, no. We will accept a spouse, but they do not receive the discount, so they would pay full cost.
What if they're a widow spouse? Could they still apply?
Absolutely.
Even though their husband, say, was never in Charlotte Hall, they would still be eligible
They
to
still
apply.
are eligible because he served our country.
What would that
We're
run
going to
about
take
for
care
a
of him.
spouse, a non-veteran spouse?
For well, I can't really say specifically for assisted living because it kind of is based on each individual's monthly income. They kind of pay. I will tell you that some years ago we had one gentleman paid $19 a month because that's all he could afford. These guys are veterans. They served our country, and we are going to take care of them. We will find a state subsidy, a federal subsidy. We will help them out. I know I personally have been in many, many homes digging through secretaries and different chests, finding appropriate paperwork. These guys deserve it. And that's why we're here, and we're going to do what we can to take care of them. But at the same token, because they have a lot of money, we're not going to take them for everything they have. We don't take into account their assets or their savings when they're coming into assisted living. So that makes it really nice.
Now, as I say, didn't they take some of the wing that wasn't being used and made more doctors' offices and more stuff because of the influx of more veterans?
That's correct. Yes, we have an entire wing that is more offices. We opened up an optometry center, so here at right at our facility, which makes it really nice because a lot of the gentlemen were having to get on a bus and drive to Washington D.C. at the VA Medical Center for those types of services that we are now able to offer right in our home. They don't have to go anywhere. They get one free eye exam a year. We just expanded our dental suite. Brand new, state-of-the-art, top-notch dental suite. It's gorgeous. Like, I want to get my teeth cleaned in there. One free dental exam per month or per year as well. So we really take care of the guys once they come to us.
I'd just like to get my teeth there.
I know. That's an option too. Charlotte Hall absolutely is gorgeous inside and out. We sit on 126 acres. It's surrounded by walking trails, ponds, gazebos. If anyone hasn't been to St. Mary's County, it's gorgeous. A lot of times someone in Cumberland might have an issue with the location of Charlotte Hall. And I'll be honest, that's my #1 issue, is that we're so far away for a lot of veterans.